Welcome back to another episode of People Believe That. I am oldMIXDhead.
It's your boy Chief.
And today we are going back to another military story as part of our collection. Last time we did this, we were talking about things that we've experienced, things that we've gone through while we both served in the military. If you don't know by now, me, oldMIXDhead, I served 13 years in the United States Navy. And Chief, you served...
I served 6 years in the Army.
See the difference how you say Army. And I said Navy.
Yeah. It is what it is, bro.
It is what it is.
It was a good run.
It's like a long walk.
Yeah. Long, exhausting.
You had like a long walk.
A long power walk.
All right. Well, yeah. Power walk.
Where you get in trouble for running, but you also get in trouble for walking.
Yeah. You have to find a happy medium.
It's called range walking. I think that's what the military Army term for it is.
Nah, Navy was run and gun all the way, 100%. All day, every day. I mean, not really, but...
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Whole lot of hurry up and wait.
There's a lot of that. I think there's a lot of that everywhere.
Yeah. All right, now what we like to do is we like to share some stories with everybody out there. We know there's a lot of people that listen to this that have either served in the military, knew somebody who served in the military, and it kind of opens a perspective of what goes on inside military, whether it be Navy, Army, Marines, Coast Guard, things like that, Air Force.
Right, because a lot of times people get stuck on the news and what they see in news stories, movies, but they never hear like the little in between stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's the important stuff.
Like that's the stuff that like makes you say my experience in the military wasn't that bad.
Right.
Like there was a lot of really bad things, but among those things, there were moments of nothingness where nothing was really happening.
Right.
And that's when you spend time talking to your buddies or reminiscing or thinking. You do a lot of thinking. Well, if you're smart, you do a lot of thinking while you're in the military. A lot of people kind of get in the military and run through it kind of like it's a 4-year-long summer camp or something like that and get out of it. I know a lot of dudes that went into the military that, served for close to the same amount of time as me, some even more, and get out and they're right back to where they were when they got in.
Yeah. They didn't do anything while they're in.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do anything but just like survive that time period, whatever the time period they're in. But they didn't like save up. They didn't really plan for what was going to happen after. Some of that is just from immaturity. A lot, and some of it, not as much, I don't think, are the people that get deployed and kind of lose track of life. And then they come back and they don't really care one way or the other. That's kind of where I ended up. But, God pulled me through that. So there's a lot of times where we are in the military where you're sitting around with your boys or you're sitting around with your, I guess you had females in your thing. So sitting around with your buddies. I'll just say buddies, not boys.
I didn't have any females.
You didn't have any females like in y'all's unit or nothing?
Oh, okay. That's what you mean.
That's what I'm saying. Like you interacted, you had interactions. Like with y'all,
I try to stay away from the...
Right, we talked about that too. Yeah. About the whole, fear of high school type
drama.
Of games going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the midst of all of that stuff, man, what kind of let me ask you, let's start off like this. Were there any outside of your training or outside of your missions or naval fleet maneuvers? Is that a thing?
Of course.
All right. Outside of that stuff, did anything happen to you that kind of like, I'm not going to say traumatized because I don't want to get on to like super traumatization stuff, but like anything that kind of like just threw you off that was, kind of hazardous or something.
Like real life world event?
Yeah, yeah.
There was, when I was stationed in, this happened a couple years ago, nothing ever, I was fortunate enough to serve in a time where things didn't really, on my level at least, where I would be directly involved, things didn't really happen. I call it the in-between time, where it was just a lot of busy work and a lot of preparations and a lot of, just get ready for, in the event something was to happen.
So you had nothing to do with the death of Osama bin Laden?
I didn't know, but the branch that I served did. Not so much, other branches like, the
So
Army.
you're guilty by association, or victorious by association. It's all
Victorious by association.
however you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, yeah. So a couple years ago, there was a message that went out that there was a submarine that went missing.
What? They park it in the wrong place, or
No, not missing. It's just it wasn't accounted for. I think it was it was a North Korean submarine.
okay. So it's not like an American.
No, it wasn't
one.
American. No,
So
but
they're
there was I'm pretty sure it was North Korean. It could have been Chinese, but there was a submarine that couldn't be located.
So they had been pinging it and keeping track of it on the radar and everything.
Yeah,
And then it just went dark.
it went dark. So what that meant to us was there was a chance that we were going to be
Attacked.
right. We're well, not attacked, but we were going to be. My ship was going to be tasked with going out hunting for it. Now, the ship that I served on, I won't say it, but we had the best.
Was it the Roosevelt?
No,
Was it the Dwight Eisenhower?
no.
See, I only know that some boats are named after old presidents. I have no idea if either one of those were real boats, but I tried.
No, they are. They definitely are.
Okay, but it's not those two.
It's not those two. No.
Okay, we're going to narrow it down, people.
No, but I wasn't upset because normally, this is one of those funny things that when you're in the Navy, people get upset when they're getting told that they're going out to sea, which is weird because it's the Navy. Like, that's what we're there for. We're not here to. We're not. I don't want to say we're useless inland, but the purpose of being in the Navy is to go out in the ocean. And there are people that really get pissed off. And towards the end of my time in, it would really bother me that I had to leave. Not because, I was burnt out or anything. It's just over time, my priorities changed. I got married, had kids, and every time we had to pull out of the pier, we had to go out to the ocean. I knew I was leaving them behind. So for that reason, I didn't enjoy underway as much as I used to. But once that came up, I was like, I remember I was heading on to the ship, and somebody came at me and said, "Hey, did you hear what's going on?" I said, "No." And they told me the situation with the submarine. And immediately I wasn't upset at all. I was kind of like, well, if we do get tasked with this, we have to end up going out there and searching for it. I'm fine with that because it's not like we're going out to do some pointless exercise or
You actually had a meaning. You actually had a purpose.
It had real world meaning.
Yeah.
We're going out there looking for a possible hostile submarine, and we would have actually gotten to do some actual good out there. We weren't going out there to fake shoot at people or to play these little war games or these little scenarios and get the checks in the boxes. We were going to actually go out there and find a real world target. And that really, that if we could have done more of that, my time in would have been a little less negative because it became a big arcade game after a while.
Just repeat.
Big pony show, dog and pony show is what we called it.
Right. Well, I think you have to get through all of that.
It's necessary. I'm not saying like you should just constantly be fighting. I mean, you got to do the training.
That's what I saw a lot of that kind of struggle in the military with guys that wanted absolutely nothing to happen. Like the guys are like, "Look, man, and it was
another quiet night. Just give me another quiet night."
Yeah, it was torn. It was like a toss up between really experienced guys and very unexperienced people who had the same outlook, who didn't want nothing to happen at all.
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody wants something to happen.
That's what I thought. And then you meet the dudes, and then it's a toss up again. It's like 50-50 and then 50-50, right? So then you got guys who absolutely want something to happen, like are begging for it, like, please.
You hear that? You hear that?
Come on, let's go.
Let's go investigate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We had a lieutenant, man. We called him Dora the Explorer because he used to, bruh, like we have, depending on what the mission was or whatnot, say, we'd run out with 4 trucks, right? And each truck has so many people in it, or whatever. Anyway, we had a lieutenant that used to want to, run everywhere, bro. Like we'd have our certain routes we have to take, and it's really part of our how we do the missions is you're not supposed to take some of the same routes the same way every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be you got to stay as unpredictable as possible.
Yeah.
There's only a finite number of roads to and from where your base is, whatever, or your post.
Right.
But you still need to like try to switch it up and stay vigilant and all that type of stuff. So there were some dudes who were like, oh, please let there be something going on, Mike. I need, and really it was okay. And then like the people that really wanted something to happen, they were either trying to prove themselves. They wanted awards. There were people who wanted medals. There were people who wanted rank, and they wanted to earn it in Iraq. It was a big deal for a lot of people to earn rank and to whatever in Iraq. And, when, like you said, when we had those missions where it sounded important, for whatever it was, like it was worth it then, and then the times where you're just kind of like farting around and eating kebabs. Like, man, what are we doing here, man?
Yeah. The thing is, like I said, I call this whole period the in-between time. There's no real war, going on respectively. I know we send troops over to these horrible places and people die every day. I don't say it to be disrespectful. It's just there's no real big, huge conflict.
Right.
We didn't have a NOM.
Your whole purpose was just to stay ready.
Our purpose was to patrol the oceans, the seas,
right?
And
when nothing's going on,
to have presence,
right?
So they know we're there,
right?
And it's just we had to stay ready. We had to stay willing and capable,
right?
So if one of our weapon systems went down, the whole fleet is now at stake. So we had to make sure everything was up and ready to go. So when we're at these times where we feel like all we're doing is just showing face, it kind of lowers the morale of the importance, because you hear these big great stories of the Navy or the military, and
right.
We're gonna go out there, we're gonna defeat the enemy, and we're gonna this and that, and then but then you serve your time, and then you're out there, and all you're doing, you're just going in circles. Like when I was in Japan, the very first time I got underway, went out to the ocean, I was looking at the radar screen. And it showed our path, and I was okay. Here we are. About 3 hours later, I came back and looked at it. We're in the same spot. So I asked the guy, I was like, "Why are we? We're moving. We're going like 15 knots right now." I said, "Why are we in the same area?" He said, "Well, this is our it's our area. It's where we were assigned to go." I'm like, "So we're just out here?" I said, "Yeah, we're just doing circles." I'm like, wait a minute.
So you thought you was like...
I thought we were doing some stuff.
You were high speeding into traffic.
Yeah, I thought we were,
Nah, bro, you
checking some stuff, I thought we were out there doing some stuff.
You hitting the turnarounds, brother.
Nah, we went about 20 knots or 20 nautical miles forward, took a left, went about 5 nautical miles forward, took another left.
Yeah.
It just kept going in circles. I'm like, what? Like, what are we doing here? But that's just that's how they do it. We get our little areas of coverage, and we just stay in that little box.
Just stay in your little zone, huh?
Stay in our little box, But that's somebody that makes a lot more money than any of us told us to do it, so therefore we have to do it. How do you feel about that? When you think about it, like everything that you did when you were over there in the Iraq, sorry. When you were over there in Iraq, every place you went, every mission you did, somebody was sitting in an office and said, "Hey, you know what? Let's send somebody." Not. What was your rank? Private?
No, it was specialist.
Send Specialist Williams. No, they was like, send somebody.
Yeah, anybody.
Get some bodies over there.
Put some boots on the ground.
Yeah, put some boots in this area. Check that out. Let me know what you find.
Yeah.
Come back. We ain't find nothing. Well, send them back.
It was weird, man, because when we first got to Iraq, the second time, we touched on this before about, like when we first you first go to basic, and it's just the grand scale of the operation that's at hand.
Right.
Like how many moving parts there are.
Bigger picture. Right.
The bigger, you just see just how many. When you've actually had to plan for things before, if you ever had to plan for anything like an event I used to do before I got in the military. I used to do music, from production to promotion to just everything, recording and all that stuff. So, but we had to do events, and you have to plan. And with the planning comes, okay, someone has to be over here at this time, someone has to be here at this time, someone has to be at this time. And then you look at how the military, like the grand scale of it's trippy, bro. Like it's trippy, like how much planning goes into your meal today.
Right.
Like how much planning goes into what clothes you wear every day, and making sure that the clothes stay clean and that you're in the right uniform, you're in the right place at the right time. Right. And that they have to task people to keep every, you know what I'm saying? There's just a million managers. Yeah. That's all the Army is. They're just training you to be a manager at Burger King. Yeah. So,
which is funny because the higher rank you get, the more paperwork you have to do.
Right.
Which is, it's like what's it called? A catch-22.
Right. With that might be why, some of the officers were the ones that were so wanting to get out there so bad, because
tired of all this paperwork.
Right.
Shoot something.
Yeah. And it was funny. I mean, I'm jumping off subject, but there was moments where I would be around people in the military and I would look at them and be like, we're number one.
We're like a perfect storm of idiots and geniuses and everything in between.
It's a melting pot,
Yeah.
I'm like, we're number one, bro. Like, we're number one with this guy.
Trust me, I know.
Exactly. And then I tell myself, man, the rest of the world sucks. Yeah. Like, how are y'all not beating us? You know why they're not beating us, man? Because the managers, man. There's so many managers.
Yeah, it's organization. If you're not organized, you ain't gonna move. It
is a
pebble.
Very, very, very complex, detailed operation that these people are running. And you asked me how I felt about knowing that somebody in an office somewhere signed a piece of paper and then I ended up in Iraq. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know how I feel about that, man. I feel like there's probably less than 20 people that actually run the world, right? Like collectively, and all that stuff is just pawn pieces moving here and there for money. Chess pieces. Pieces, yeah. I think Army. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I believe all this stuff is to get the world banking system into place in all the different countries. The only places that we're actually going to war with are places that don't have the world banking system, the Federal Reserve in their country. It used to be Japan. It used to be Saudi Arabia. It used to be in Iraq. It used to be all these countries that we've gone to war with, and they shot Sex in the City too in Saudi Arabia not too long ago. Japan. You're walking around eating Wendy's.
Yeah. They're very westernized.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So all these places have the world banking system. So that's really why we're going to war. It's not about oil. It's just about the money. But that's kind of one of the things that kind of forced me into the thought process when I got back home was, why did we go over there? And like, how come these people didn't do it? Now, the stigma on that is, well, I don't know if it's a stigma or not, but, I guess because some of the people have been in so long that they've actually gone into combat and all that other type of stuff, so they get promoted. So that's why these lieutenants, when we go over there, they're so quick to jump out there and just roam and try to get into something so that later on in their career, they can sit in the office and do it, or they can round up. See, not all the time do the big wigs stay like in the back office. What they do is they'll round up a team of like escorts, and you see them like on the news walking around talking to the locals with like a reporter with one of those little half bulletproof vest on with a stupid helmet on his head that doesn't match anything nobody there is wearing. Like, where'd you get that from? Did you pick that up in the airport on the way over here? But it doesn't really. I mean, from the standpoint of being when I was a soldier and not being aware of what's going on, just from your basic, I'm in the military or military standpoint. I really didn't care. I didn't care
about
that a dude was sitting in an office somewhere and saying, go out and do this. I was like, tell that dude to send more stuff down the tube, man. Like, we out here chilling, like bored,
Yeah, it kind of hit me when we were out in the ocean a few times, and I I really started thinking. I was like, there's some guy or some woman, whatever, sitting in an office with their feet up. Somebody's asking them some updates, some status reports,
Right.
and they're like, let's shake things up. Let's move to,
Let's go throw a dart at the table.
Probably playing some Battleship or something.
Yeah,
like,
let's go here.
Go 3G.
Yeah.
Move somebody there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens then.
Let's see what happens.
Right.
Let's keep them guessing. Let's keep them moving.
Well, go ahead.
It's like Sudoku almost. When you have no intel, you just kind of make an educated guess.
Like Minesweeper.
Minesweeper, no. Minesweeper is pretty detailed. I never learned how to play, but I figured out that you have to look at the numbers because it'll tell you how many bombs or open areas are in there.
I didn't figure that out until YouTube came along. But we're showing our age now, man. But let me ask you this question,
we're dating this.
Let me ask you a question, right? And this is, it's kind of military, right? Government stuff. Like, the ocean is huge, bro.
Yes, it is.
And you've been there. Like,
yes, I have.
Me personally, I do not mess with that type of water.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too deep.
Way too deep.
Is there do you think, like, besides submarines, are there underwater military bases? Not underground. We all know there's underground military bases, but are there, like, bottom of the ocean? And then not even just that, but is it in the realm of possibilities that as a civilian, we'll just say in America for now, right? Mm-hmm. As a civilian, we have no idea what's down at the bottom of the water, what's up in the sky, because as civilians, we only have access to whatever they tell us. Right? Is it possible? Do you think there is? Have you seen anything? Go.
Well, anybody who's seen the movie The Abyss knows that it's possible. I think James Cameron tapped into some stuff. They had an oil rig at the bottom of the ocean, right off the cliff of some deep
trench. Yeah,
trench. But the depth of the ocean, obviously is calculated that they tell us, but I wouldn't say it's impossible. I would just say it's very unlikely, because unless you got cables running down to it, the communication is going to be cut off from the top side. Unless they've created something that's absolutely top secret. So, is it possible? Yeah, highly unlikely.
It's highly unlikely
to me. I'm not gonna shut it down and be like, nah, that'll never happen, man. That's just conspiracy theories, But it's possible. I wouldn't be surprised if they said, yeah, by the way, we have like 20 underwater bases spread out throughout the entire globe. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. I would be like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Impressive.
Yeah. All right. Figured it out.
One of the questions I've always asked was,
I think, real quick, I think they would treat it just like they treat the ISS or something. Like, they would have people down there for like years and not come up because just the transfer of personnel would be too grand of a.
Maybe at first.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I would think they would have people down there on long-term basis.
I believe, bro, that I'm not going to get into that. Let me just skip that part. All right. Look, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you 3 boat names, or three. I'm not going to say boat. I'm going to say ship names.
Yeah, we don't have boats.
Yeah, sorry.
We do have boats, but they're not.
But they're diggers.
Yeah.
I'm okay. USS Bradbury.
Okay.
Were you ever on that one?
No.
The USS Portland.
No.
How about the USS Hathaway?
Nope. I was only on 2 ships.
Good, because all of these are names of ships on Star Trek Enterprise. So, I was just making sure you was really in the Navy, bro.
I was really in the Navy.
I'm not with that stolen valor stuff, bro. It's hilarious, but I'm not with it.
Nah, that's
Have you seen any stolen valor things?
No. What's the update?
I mean, period, like in person.
Have I ever experienced it?
Right.
No.
Explain to our listeners.
Okay, so Stolen Valor. Stolen Valor was, I don't think it's anything new. It's just because of social media and being able to expose them. It's what it basically is a person who has not served in the military or somebody who has served in the military, but they are carrying around these medals or trying to cash in on the accolades of things that they've never actually been a part of. For instance, you'll see somebody in a military uniform with a bunch of medals that are contradictory to itself.
Right.
Like you'll have a silver star, and on top of that you'll have a gold star or something, right. Something that kind of contradicts the other one.
A lot of medals and awards that are very difficult to come across. And not just that, not just awards, but their uniforms. They don't necessarily always be wearing the uniforms, right?
Yeah. I believe there's one, these guys walked up to somebody wearing a Marine uniform, and he had an expeditionary medal, and they asked him what unit they served with, and he just said, I was the 33rd. He's the 33rd.
Yeah.
I didn't know, they nailed him on the spot because I think they served or something.
Right.
I think it's hilarious. And I salute the people that call them out because you have to. Mm. The fact that somebody will want to take credit for something that they didn't do, it's nothing new.
Right.
People been doing that for years, but now you have the
social media. Yeah,
you have that to expose them and call them out for it. People do it to get free breakfasts. People do it for attention. People do it to get that pat on the back and that that clap. If you've been a veteran, please stand up, and we salute our troops and things like that. And people just want that feeling. And it's unfortunate because it's kind of it's not kind of, it is disrespectful to the ones who have served. And, I've never come across it. I've never been a part of any calling out of somebody for stolen valor. Mm. If anything, we just made fun of it and like in our division, things like that.
Well, it's funny. Last week I was at giving plasma. Trying to help the people, right?
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the fact I needed gas money.
Right.
But I was there giving plasma. And what I've noticed is I'm a people watcher. Like I'm watching exits and all that type of stuff just to keep my mind busy, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm, going through the process. And what I've noticed is that people that come in, there's different types of people that come into the plasma place. Sometimes you have people that come in that just want to get in and out, go on about their day.
Right.
Like me, I'm like, I hate that I have to do this. I'm grateful I can. Just get it out the way, right? But then you have people that are real talkative. It's like them coming to the plasma place is part of their social life. They come in there and there's just rows of tables or these beds that you sit in to pump blood, and they have machines next to you, right? And there's just rows of them. And so they have phlebotomists, which are the people who draw the blood from you, walking around, checking machines, making sure you're good, checking all that stuff, right? And, for the most part, they talk back to the customers. They sit there and, I guess not customers, but they talk to the people. And there's this dude that came in there, right? He was, this dude, like, I don't know. And he very well could have been telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth, right? But he was saying he was telling this girl I'm in the special forces.
Everybody always goes to the special forces.
Yeah,
that's the go-to.
He was in the special forces. Ops. He's putting so many people through college, his nieces and nephews through college. He's doing this, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, bro, you're about to leave here with $32 today.
How much money are you really making?
Like, what's really going on in your life, bro? And here's the thing, like, I'm looking at him and I'm trying to visualize him in a uniform. That's kind of how with people that are in the military, I kind of visualize them in a uniform. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But with this guy, I couldn't tell if he was telling the truth or not. But his stories were so, outlandish, bro. He was just saying, like, he had some war stories, bro. Of time periods that I was like trying to Google. I was like, wait, what? I didn't know we were in Bosnia in 2016. Like, he was like, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. You were meant to. That means it was successful.
Yeah, exactly. So, I've seen things of stolen valor and stuff, man, and it's funny to watch. I don't take it too serious, man. I don't really care one way or the other. I think it's a form of flattering. I saw a couple instances where the people that were doing it were slow. They had some kind of mental issue where they knew like their brother was in the military or their cousin, someone that they really idolized or that they looked up to was in the military, and they would be wearing their stuff and they'd get called on in public, and I don't know, it can go bad, but ultimately I don't care one way or the other.
Right.
Like, I get some people are like, oh, we died for that flag. We
disrespectful.
It's disrespectful. Yeah. Who cares, bro? Like I don't really care, bro.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't ruin my day if I see somebody doing it, but if I know that they're gonna get called out for it, then I'm fine. And even if they don't, I mean, it's not a rain on my parade,
I got homeboys who died listening to Tupac. No, man, I don't want people listening to Tupac albums.
Yeah. We're trying to brainstorm before we started this about some couple stories that we had about when we were in the military. And one that popped up that I wasn't able to mention last time on our very first military stories was the first time I saw somebody get hit by a car.
I was in the military?
Oh, yeah. First time I saw, like, I was right there, and I saw, it was like slow motion. Dane Cook had a joke about the first time he saw somebody get hit by a car, and it was literally just like that. It was slow motion. I saw it play out before it even happened. I was in Hong Kong, and we were walking, the street, and we came to this stop. It was a crosswalk. And the hand sign came up like stop, right? So we stopped. Now, some guy, he was on an aircraft carrier that pulled in with us. And he was with his, how do I say? He was accompanied by his, we'll call her his temporary girlfriend. Yeah. So he was walking with his temporary girlfriend, and they.
Oh, you mean like a hooker?
Well,
lady of the night.
I'll do temporary girlfriend. his, anyway. So she might have been, just normal, anyway,
civilian, right?
It was him and a girl, okay. Right. Quote unquote that I can see. Right?
Who knows? Person that appeared
to be a female.
Right.
So he apparently, or both of them, didn't care to look to see if the hand was up or not.
They had places to go.
They had things to do. They had stuff going on. So as they were walking, me and my friend stopped, and the guy and his other kept walking. And I'm like, does he not see this? And it happened real fast. Like, it wasn't like one of those, maybe I should go up and say something. Like, it happened real fast. So as he was walking, to my left, I see his taxi coming right around this corner. Like, it was like right on my left, and it was taking the corner. And I see the taxi not slowing down, and I see the guy and his friend walking. So in my head, I'm like, this is about to happen. And this is all like real quick. Like, this is like within 2 seconds.
Real quick. What did you, was the thought that you had, was it, I want to see this? Was it, how do I stop it? Or were you just kind of in a state of not, like, just stuck, like a deer in the headlight?
It was like everything. Like I said, this only took 2 seconds to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, what was your feeling? The feeling you had, like the gut feeling was like, oh no. Like, hey, stop.
It was, oh no, I should say something, but I don't know exactly. Maybe it'll be all right. But Dane Cook explained it perfectly. It was like, I wanted to reach out my hand and say, stop, you're about to get struck by a vehicle. Right. But I didn't have time to.
Right.
So the only thing that registered in my head to say out loud was, boom. So all I said was boom. Yeah. And sure enough, bang.
So you said boom?
I said boom out loud.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Well, that's the only thing that it's the only thing that I can register.
Hey, look out.
I could have said, hey, you're about to get hit. Or I could have said, watch out for that car. Or I could have said anything.
In my mind, I'm playing back like
I'm telling you,
quick responses like, hey, oh.
Whoop. Yeah, like would have been one of those like
but in your mind, how it registered for you was boom. You just made the sound effect of the guy getting hit. And then not only just you think about the sound effect, but you spoke it into existence. Yeah,
I was pretty loud with that too.
So boom. So what happened with the dude, man?
So the car comes around the corner. The taxi comes around the corner. The guy was on the left. His partner, his whatever, was on the right of him. The car comes, hits him first. Legs get thrown up. Hits her second. They go a good, 10 feet forward from where the car was hitting them from. They land on their backs, and the car slams the brakes. Right, stops. Nobody gets ran over or anything. They just flop on the hood and then they fly forward a little bit. And I'm just like standing there. They're like, whoa, I just saw somebody get hit by a car. I saw two people. I got a 2-for-1 on this one.
Twofer.
I got a twofer. And then I was just like standing there like, is it okay? But the funny part was.
There was a funny part.
They were fine. Ish, He gets up. And he's not, I don't want to say he was embarrassed. He was like inconvenienced by the whole thing.
Oh, come on, buddy.
Nah, he gets up and the taxi driver was scared to death. Like, poor guy, he's working a taxi, whatever.
Right, and he hit an American.
He hit people.
Where were y'all at?
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Yeah. So, and people in Hong Kong can't drive. I'm sorry. Yeah. They can't drive.
They have different rules over there.
Yeah, go fast. Yeah. Go as fast as possible. Always.
Go fast and go home.
Go fast, get there. That's their rule.
Get there.
I think that's on their driver's test, if there is one.
Yeah.
Right? But so he gets hit. He gets up. He kind of, brushes off his pants. Right. Taxi driver gets out. Oh, my God. Oh, you okay? You okay? You okay? It's Hong Kong. They speak English. Right. So, are you okay? I'm so sorry. He said, yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. I'm just like watching this whole thing, and I'm like, you just got hit by a car.
What about
the girl was silent. She was real quiet about the whole thing.
She wasn't like in pain or nothing? Or?
They probably were. They just got hit by a car. One could assume it hurt,
On some level.
On some level. But he got up and he kind of just brushed himself off, and the girl got up and she was kind of startled, but like the whole thing, I was playing it back in my head. I'm like, could I have done something differently other than scream boom?
I think so. Like there wasn't much you could have done.
I wasn't going to like save the day or anything.
Like not saying anything would have been better than yelling boom. Boom almost sounded like...
That's your opinion.
No, it almost sounded like you set it up. It sounds like you were sitting there and then you were trying to stop him from going, like you yelled booms to get his attention so he wouldn't move out of the way.
I think I didn't yell boom for anybody except for myself because I think it was too much to contain. It was a mixture of fear and excitement at the same time.
That's weird, man.
Yeah, like I didn't want them to get hurt. Right. I didn't want them to get hit by the car. I just knew it was going to happen.
Right.
So I couldn't contain all that I saw. It's like foresight. I saw it and I'm like, I can't hold this in. I got to be a part of this somehow. I'm like, how do what should I do? And then the only thing that came to mind and registered that went from my brain out to my mouth was boom.
Yeah.
Like, oh, boom. And then, boom. So I felt like I helped a little bit.
I don't know,
probably
man.
not.
That's horrible.
But I think if I did say, hey, watch out, I don't think it would have done anything.
No, it wouldn't have. But like you yelling boom made you look bad for no reason.
Well, nobody said anything to me afterwards.
I wonder if later he was like, zipping his pants up and putting money on the counter. He was like, did that dude yell boom?
I hope so. I made an impression that night.
Did that guy just yelled boom before I got hit?
But just think, he's going to remember that forever.
You next time, just yell World Star.
Well, World Star wasn't a thing. I probably there'd have been so many phones out at that point. If there was a World Star back then, you boom, World Star.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, bro.
You're saying you try to one up my story.
No, I don't talk about stories like that in public.
Where people get hit by cars?
No, I was trying to one up your story with some stuff I seen, but you know, for the sake of the people involved that didn't get up and brush it off. I mean, here's a military story, right? So I'm sure they do this in the Navy, but there's a bit of not hazing because that's completely illegal.
It's not hazing. It's called training.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I'm training this guy, right? Yeah. And he's bleeding all over. No, I'm joking.
So we got him taped up to the wall and
playing darts. No,
the good old days.
You know, back when the Army was the Army. No, so a new guy comes in, right? And
oh yes,
we kind of mess with him a little bit.
Yeah,
nothing weird. Nothing weird. Like no fraternity. I wasn't with that stuff, man. Like there's games that they play in the military, like the nut taps, and like you walk past somebody and
nut taps. That's
hit them with the back of your knuckles and in the privates and say, "Oh, nut tap." I don't play the nut tap game because I see dudes who play that game and they're constantly walking around flinching when someone walks past them because they always think they're going to hit me. I don't play the nut tap game. So anyway, we got a new guy in, right? And okay, I'll tell this one. I'll tell the other one some other time. But so we messed with them. Like we worked on Paladins or howitzers, M109 howitzers. I think that's what they're called. They are field artillery units. They look like, to someone who's not in the military, they look like tanks, but they're really not tanks. Tanks shoot direct fire, meaning if you see a tank coming down your street, they can turn their turret and shoot at your house, like at something, right? Directly. Indirect fire is, you see movies where guys are pinned down by machine gunners, like we need air support. Or we need
I'm pinned down.
I'm pinned down. And then they send in their coordinates. And next thing you know, you hear
get that airstrike,
and like all these bombs start coming out of the sky. That's what field artillery is. It's just they shoot the rounds into the air and they go over everything, and then they land on top of people from a distance away. So with that, we have they're armored. They're up armored, right? And we would tell a guy, "Hey man, check this out. You're new here," and they tell me, "Hey Williams, we'll take this guy around, show him what to do." All right, check this out. I need you to go over there, get one of those rocks, get one of the white rocks, right? And get a ball peen hammer, and I want you to go around this whole howitzer and gently tap and move over a little bit. Tap right there, move over a little bit. Oh, that sounds different. See, when it sounds different, that means that armor is weak. So you have to put an X on it. So find all the soft armor and find all the soft armor and put X's on it. So like 30 minutes will go by. This new private has marked up the whole everywhere where there wasn't, like, you understand how sound works, like, right? If you knock on a door and the door is hollow, it's going to make a different sound than if you knock on a door that's solid. It makes a different sound.
Right.
So within the confines of a howitzer, there's going to be parts that have nothing behind the armor, but where you're going to be, and then parts that are like other parts of armor. So this dude's walking around just X's all over the side of the. Hey, Pratt, so drill sergeant come by, staff sergeant come by. Pratt, hey Pratt, what are you doing? Marking the soft armor. Marking the soft armor. Okay, so check this out, right?
Carry on.
That's what they do, right? Like
better get back to it.
My dude, Sergeant Coda, came up to me and he was like, Williams. He was like, Williams, yes, sir. What you got him doing? He's checking for soft spots in the armor, Sergeant. Well, he's using the wrong side of the hammer.
Oh, private.
I was like, oh man. So like once stuff like that would happen, right? Then like you get the okay from your sergeant, and he's like, don't do nothing stupid, right?
Yeah.
So like, at this time we're in a motor pool, meaning that we're basically where they stage, and this is like at Fort Hood. This isn't Iraq or anything. This is just here, We're in a motor pool where they stage all of the vehicles, right? And if you've never been like on an army post or something like that, I would suggest it. It's pretty cool, it's cool for the point that you get to see stuff that you don't normally get to see.
Right.
It's not cool that you're actually seeing death machines, but it's cool that you get to see like stuff like that, right? So after Sergeant Carter was like, okay, Will, go ahead. So I was like, all right, man, don't worry about that no more. We'll come back to that. This is what I need you to do. All right. Have you ever seen like those, those like 25-gallon water cans or fuel cans, the plastic joints?
Yeah.
The fuel ones and the plastic ones look pretty similar. They just, one says fuel on the side, one says water, and they have like different handles.
Right.
So what I do is I tell the dude, I was like, this is what I need you to do. I need you to go down to the bay where the mechanics are and get sorry, Carter, what's it called? He said, I don't know, look it up. Get a G7 container and get an exhaust sample from each one of these and take it down there. And okay, so the dude he'll walk down to the mechanic's bay and like ask a mechanic, I need a G7 container. They're like, what? We need a G7 container for the exhaust sample. So they'll send them back with like some miscellaneous scrap piece of something.
Here you go.
They'll come
Make
over
sure
there.
you bring it back.
Yeah, I'm like, I said, what is that?
I need your ID.
Yeah. All right, and one more, right? One more.
Need some collateral.
One more, right? Then we had to give them the boom test. You know what I'm saying? And the boom test was, all right, we got to calibrate the tubes of these howitzers. Like, they're huge, man. Like, they're really like monstrous machines, like just, engineering's crazy on it. So, all right, this is what we're going to do. I need you to go inside of the howitzer. We're going to lower the tube down. We're going to open up from the inside, and I need you to yell boom as loud as you can down this tube so we can calibrate the acoustics. So I go in there. I'm not going to say my boy's name, man, but it was Mitchell. And Mitchell didn't do this boom test, but he did do the soft armor test. But so they have a dude in there, and everybody outside of the paladin is cracking up because you can just barely hear this dude coming through this little. No, you hear like a loud yell, but it's like boom. But he's like yelling really loud. You're boom. You're like, one more time, man.
Okay, one more time.
Boom. I was like, dog, you got to sound like how it sounds, man. Like
you got to project.
You got to project, bro. Like from here, you got right here.
People's lives are at stake.
From the bread basket, bro. You want to go deaf in there? If we don't get the acoustics right, we can go deaf. All right, man. So they're in there holding their ears and yelling boom through the back end of a howitzer barrel. Just stuff like that, man. Like stuff like that is like
we had our own little things for the new guys. Did you guys have sound power phones?
What's that?
Sound power phones work off of lines, not necessarily electronics, right? Mm. You connect it's a headset with a receiver and a little microphone, but it's not electronic. It's sound powered, right? So the louder you are, the more clearer you are on the other end, on the receiving end.
Right. No, I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, we use that for when we're out in the ocean and say we lose power, we still have communication throughout the ship.
Right.
Sound powered, right?
Right.
So sound powered phones, if you pay attention to what it's called, you realize it's powered off of sound.
Right.
We would have the new guy. We would be doing these scenarios in our combat CIC, Combat Information Center, on a ship. And instantly we would know what the other guy was saying, like the more veteran guys, be like, hey, are you able to hear me on the circuit? Like, nah, and I would know exactly what he's saying because the new guy would be sitting there Is that you? Are you able to hear me? Like, nah, I think it's dying out. No, like, try it again. Check 1, check 2, check. I can hear you, but I can't really. I think the battery's dying. So he's a hey, new guy. We call his name, but I'll just say new guy. Hey, new guy. The battery on the sound power phone is just dying out. Like, I don't know why it's been doing that lately.
Right.
They're dying out. I think they're giving us crappy batteries. Can you go down to supply and ask senior chief, whoever? Right. Senior chief's like the E8.
Right.
Go down to supply and ask the senior chief if he can get us a new one, because this is not working. So sure enough, the new guy would go down to supply, and we would call, and as he leave, we'd call down to supply and say, hey, this is Petty Officer so-and-so. We're sending down our new guy to get sound power phones for the, or batteries for the sound power phones. Could you just, you know, he's like, oh, come on, man. Why y'all doing this to the new guy? And, no. We would send him to our chief, right. Our E7, to make sure it's, he's cool with it. Right. So, hey, chief, we're sending the new guy to you for sound power, batteries for sound power phone. So, why y'all messing with the new guy, man? Come on, chief, sit him down to supply. Like, come on, chief, sit him down to supply.
Supply was always cool, man.
Yeah, so sure enough, chief sent him down to supply, and supply called us. Like, why you guys sitting? Why y'all doing this to him, man? Y'all know he don't know nothing.
Yeah,
we got to, man. He's got to learn this stuff. Yeah, there was other things, like we would send guys to go get bucket of steam. Like, we're running low on steam on here, man. We need to go get you a bucket. Go down to supply and ask for a bucket of steam. Yeah, sometimes they get it, sometimes they wouldn't.
We had in the ranking system, it's E1 up to E whatever, right? And then it goes into officers. Yeah. And it's, it goes private.
E9.
PV2, PFC specialist, sergeant, staff sergeant, master sergeant, and so on and so forth, right? So we would tell the new guy, hey, go ask master sergeant for if he knows where we can find a prick E7. So the guy's looking for a prick E7. Are there any prick E7s here, Master Sergeant? What'd you say to me? Yeah, I'm looking for a prick E7. Get down.
No,
get down right now.
One of the best ones I ever heard, it wasn't even in the military, it was before I joined the military, when I worked at a hospital. They told me this story. They sent a guy to the supply area where all the equipment was being held. And, they have like the kangaroo patch or cape pad or something, all these, I forgot what they were called, but right. They sent one of the guys in there to look for a set of fallopian tubes.
I've heard that one before.
He went into he said, hey man, we need you. Could you go? We're running short. Can you go into the supply office and ask ask for a set of fallopian tubes? So he goes in there. And he tells the lady who's running it, he's like, they need a set of fallopian tubes. And she says, what? Yeah, I need some fallopian tubes. Who sent you in here? Stuff like that is funny, though. It breaks the tension. It breaks an icebreaker. It's good for morale. If you take yourself too seriously, you'll get offended.
Right.
But if you look at it from the outside, it's like, it's funny, because you're going to do that one day. Yeah. It's funny that way.
Right. And a dude, you're talking about supply, and when you're done with supply, it's like a whole different beast, especially in the Army.
I don't think people understand how crazy supply can get.
Yeah, like supply, man. I give a lot of props to the supply guys because
they can be jerks though.
Yeah, they can, because their job is so demanding, bro. Especially like when you're dealing with
absolutely valuable stuff goes on every day in supply.
Yeah, so much accountability. Excuse me, accountability. Just the sheer numbers that they have to maintain and go through and keep track with. But with that, you usually get the kind of guys that have a pretty good
Yeah.
dark sense of dark
sense of
weird
humor.
sense of humor, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of get into it
because they deal with people on a day-to-day basis. Like, I need this and I need it yesterday.
Right.
Like, well, you're gonna get it in 2 weeks.
Right.
Well, I need it now.
And they don't care. They're
you're
like,
gonna get it.
Look, chief.
I understand what you're saying.
Right.
I get it. It's very valuable. You need it, but you're gonna get it in 2 weeks.
Because that's when it's going to get here.
Yeah, because I mean, I can't, just materialize it right in front of my eyes.
Right. And they deal with so many higher ups and everything. But one time we sent a dude down to the supply. We were looking for. We were going over our maps. We were checking our routes for this mission we were about to do. So we sent a dude down to supply to get a box of grid squares. Now, people don't know what grids are. Like, if you look on a map, you know how there's
A1,
A2. You know how the map
on the left and on the bottom or on the top, there's numbers and letters.
Right, and there's lines in the map, so you can kind of look in. But okay, we're going to go from A1 to G7 or E5 or whatever.
Grid squares.
So the dude came back with a box full of cut up maps. I was like, go give it to a master sergeant. Tell him he's a box of pricky 7. Oh God!
There was I was told about, and I didn't experience, but they told me this, and I absolutely believe it. I think this was in San Diego. When you're pulling into San Diego from the ocean, you have to go a certain. There's only one really way in, to pull into San Diego base. Right. And there's a Coronado Bridge. Mm-hmm. And the Coronado Bridge is high up in the air. I don't know how high it is, probably like 200 feet. I mean, it's big, right? Or it's tall, it's way up there. Mm-hmm. Well, a ship was pulling in, and the new guy was there. And this is his first time pulling in. He pulled out with the ship, and now they're pulling back in. Mm-hmm. And, the main mast where the antennas and all that stuff is the highest point of the ship. The main mast is what it's called. One of the guys told the new guy, said, "Hey, I need you to go get the mast crank the mast down." And what they guided him to this little wheel that just turned. It didn't do anything. Right. I need you to turn this and crank the mast down. Right. So now, unfortunately for him, that crank was in the bridge, in the pilot house where the captain sits, where all the navigator sits, and all the big ups, the ship. So
you couldn't actually see the mast whether it was going up or down.
No, he didn't know.
He didn't know if it was doing anything.
He didn't know if it was doing anything. He was told to crank the mast down so it didn't hit the Coronado Bridge. Right. So he starts turning it. He says, "All right, just keep doing that. It's going to take a while. It goes real slow." So he's cranking it, and the CO sees him just turning this
random wheel.
It's just random wheel that does nothing. So the CO asks him, "Seaman, what are you doing?" So I'm cranking the mast down. Captain already knows what's going on here. Right. He's like, I'm doing the mast crank so it doesn't hit the bridge. Well, you better start cranking. So he's cranking it. And the guy who told him to do it runs in. He says, "I thought I told you to crank it down. Hurry, we're going to hit." So he's cranking the crap out of it. So he's spinning it like crazy. He's like, "Hurry up, we're going to hit." So he's just cranking the crap out of it, and nothing. It's funny.
It's fun, man.
It's stuff like that you get to tell people in the future, and it's just a good laugh.
And not even just that, it brings the human element back into what you're doing.
Yeah, people taking a crappy situation and making it enjoyable.
No, I wasn't big on like prank type stuff. Like some things are too much. Yeah. But for the most part, it was all in good fun, man. And you need that type of stuff when you're out there so long and you're away from your family, and I've always had my brothers around me. I've always had close family friends around me or something like that, or just support system, period. You know. And when I was in the military, I had no intentions on making friends. I didn't go in there for that. Right. I went in there just to get away and to hide, But what I found is that the world's bigger, than the cul-de-sac. Yeah. That we grew up on. The world's bigger than the street that we grew up on. The world's bigger than, the world's huge, bro. Yeah. And not just because you got to be in a ship and sail around in the water, and I got to go and play in the dirt. The world's huge, bro. And
yeah,
we're gonna wrap it up.
You bring the barriers down. You know, you'd be surprised on what's on the other side.
You learn a lot from other people, man. Different races, different
stories,
nationalities,
different
upbringing. Yeah. You know, and when I first went to Iraq, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, as soon as they opened the airplane door when we landed in Kuwait, I was like, "Oh, F this place." No, I'm talking about like you're still sitting in your seat, and there's nothing like it, bro. There's nothing like I can't explain it, but it's the first time you really feel that air. You know what I'm saying? Like they open the door, and you know it's pressurized. You know, so you feel the air that they have in there, and the whatever. They open that door, and all that air just gets sucked out, and then just this dry heat comes in, and then like the glow of whatever the sky looked like at the time, like half yellow, half orange, comes through the thing, and you're like, oh my God, like where, what's going on? But I first went over there thinking, let's just blow this place up and go home. But when I was over there, I realized they're just people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them were just born here and grew into making bad decisions because they were taught to make bad decisions. And then you come home and you look around and realize it's the same thing, bro. Right. They were just born here. I'm sure you've experienced something similar, like going to different countries, Japan and all these other places. You realize that the people there are born there, and as kids, they don't know any better. They're raised by their parents or their guardians in the system or community, and they tend to just take on those things until they get older and they can make their own decisions. But for the most part, people are just born where they're at, man. And I learned a lot in the military, bro.
Yeah. It's important to share experiences with each other, and it's important to realize, for everybody who's listening, if you're in the military, if you're thinking about going into the military, don't have these preconceived notions that your story's better than the next story, or your life's better than the lives that you're going to be coming in contact with, because you can learn so much from just one other person, and the more willing you are to being open and taking on all these other people's lives and stories and backgrounds and lessons they've learned, and you apply those lessons to your life, that just makes you a stronger individual.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised how many people that I ran into in Muslim territory, Iraq, that were Christians, but had to hide their faith because, that's something we take for granted over here. I can openly sit here and talk about my love of God, my love of Jesus, my love of, serving in my church and my family and all that stuff. But over there, in different places, they don't have the same types of freedoms that we have. We've talked about that, how some countries have more freedoms than us and less freedoms than us or whatever. But, I'm definitely grateful for my military experience. I used to curse it, but truth is, I got closer to God with it. I was able to take care of my family. I'm still being able to take care of my family because of the time I served. And I met a lot of good people. I don't necessarily agree with the military, complex type thing where everything's going on. Yeah. But I am definitely grateful for the people that I met, came in contact with, shared stories with, shared life experiences with. And yeah, man.
Were you close to your chain of command?
It was tricky, man. I had some chain of command that I came up in the ranks with. Yeah. So I'm one of the dudes who I can serve under somebody that I'm cool with. Right. And I can stay within the lines. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't necessarily bleed over, but sometimes it does. But some of the chain of command I was cool with, but for the most part, I kind of just,
There has to be the connection, up and down the chain. We all know it's a stressful place and it's a stressful situations most of the time, and it's hard to stay within those lines of respecting the higher chain of command and realizing that, well, they're just people too, and the lines get blurry, and sometimes you lose it a little bit. Sometimes you feel like you're maybe you're not like you're too little, but they're too high up for you to try to establish some type of relationship with. I remember there was an E7, and we're going to wrap it up real soon. I just want to share this last little bit.
We have 106.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to edit it down. Yeah. So, there was one time we had this E7. He was our 3MC, which is maintenance material management chief of the boat, the ship. And, he came into our office one day. It was me and like four of the guys in my division. he came in, he asked for our folders and stuff like that. He was a cool guy. I think he was Puerto Rican or something. He had an accent, you know. Cool guy. He was like 5'4" or something. He was a cool guy. As he was leaving, the guy next to me, he's a chief now. He's E7 now. But the guy next to me, we were like E4s or E5s. And before the chief left, he screams out, "Hey, chief." I said, "Yeah, what's going on, man?" He goes, "When's the last time you got your you-know-what kicked?" So chief turned around, closed that door real quick, ran over and jumped on us. We all just started fighting right then and there.
That's dope.
You know, like stuff like that. That just, you know, and we were on a frigate, you know, frigate's less than 150 people,
right.
You know, so we all had to have some type of
communication,
some type of relationship, right. You know, had to extend past the quote unquote military life, expectations.
Right.
You know?
We had moments like that when we went to, a COP, a cop, I don't even know what that stands for. Something operating post. I don't know. But it was really small. Like, it was real small, bro. It was like a trailer park. Yeah. Like, it was like the size of like a small trailer park. And we all had trailers. Community. Yeah. Yeah. And they had, I mean, it was just really small, bro. And like what you're saying, like, there's only so much room. You're going to bump into everybody at some point. And
you got to have some type of positive working relationship.
Yeah. And it has to, you know, the leadership that I respected the most anyway were the ones that were able to make non-emotional, rational decisions. Yeah. And they didn't bring their home life into work. Yeah. And then in retrospect, they probably had a horrible home life because of it. I feel like the people that like were affected, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna get into that. That's relationship talk. But I had a respect for certain chain of command. There were other ones that were too just doing too much. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There were some people who always had to be the first to volunteer for work. There's some people who wanted us to be the first to do dumb stuff. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I really did not like when people wanted you to volunteer for stuff. Yeah. Like, you should just want to do this. You should just, like, dude, who wants to do that? Like, bro, who wants to do that?
I said it all the time. I'll be in the middle of mopping. I'm like, bro, if my kids knew how much sweeping I did throughout the week, they would not respect me.
Dude, sweeping was a part of our daily routine.
You don't understand, man. Like, I would come home. See, you got out. Like, your kids won't really remember you being in the Navy. By the time they get 10, they'll never remember it. No. They'll see pictures and kind of, oh yeah, but they don't remember it. Like, my kids were old enough to, like, you know, my kids are old. Like, I got a daughter about to go to college. So when I come home in uniform, you know, he's a general. Right. You know, I'm a private, you know, sweeping and picking up rocks and organizing sand. Yeah. Like, just doing dumb stuff. Like, you know,
in between stuff.
Yeah, I do cool stuff too, but like, my kids have no idea how much I've swept in my life. Like, they have no idea.
That's cleaning stations, man. That's dated. That's every morning, sometimes in the afternoon.
But you know what, man? Like, coming up and, you know, how Dad used to make us do the dishes. Like, even though he had a dishwasher, like, I would wash, you dry. Yeah. Or you'd wash, I dry. Or we'd fight over that. No, I dried. Like, I dried last time. Drying's easy. You know what I'm saying? You wash. You know. But all that kind of helped me when I got in the military, man. It all came to fruition, man.
All right. Well, we shared a couple stories here about our military experiences. We're going to continue on with this series of this little collection that we have. This is part 2 of that collection.
We need to start bringing in some people and maybe doing some phone interviews or something like that with some of your people.
Yeah, I'm with it. Like, I want to. There's a couple people I want to get a hold of that we can talk about it, so they can tell. Probably some of my junior people that I had, so they can tell you how awesome of a leader I was.
I got 2 guys that I know that in the city. I got a dude I went to Iraq with who actually, remember Luis? I was talking about the sunglasses.
No.
Remember I was sitting in the toilet and he.
Oh yeah.
I was sitting in the toilet. He left his glasses in there and I was wearing them. He's in San Antonio. I can probably get him in here.
We gotta get a hold of these people.
Yeah, I got another partner who's prior Navy. Got into a little bit of trouble. Now he's doing better. So we try to get him in here too, man.
All right, yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up right there. Hope everybody enjoyed what they were listening to. If you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe. so you can know every single time that we post an episode. We post a new episode every Monday and Thursday at 4 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time. That way, by the time you wake up, it is already there waiting for you. If you like what you hear, go ahead, again, hit that subscribe, like it, leave a comment so we know what you think. If you like it, if you have any suggestions, if you want us to talk about a certain topic, if you want to just add a little opinion, you want to tell us what we're doing good, what we're doing bad, we're accepting all comments right now. Contact us on Facebook, Twitter. You can follow us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel now. It's at The Will Boys. TheWillBoys. You can find us there. Please leave a comment and let us know what you think. I am oldMIXDhead.
I'm your boy Chief.
And we'll see you next time.
Hey.